My name is Julie Collins, and I have been a New Yorker since 1970. Panic, desperation, fear. I had been relocated about 7.5 years ago. They tore my building down, and it was a rent-controlled building. I'd been there for 38 years, so they forced us out. So I was relocated to the Upper West Side to a comparable apartment, rent stabilized. And during that process, my original attorney wrote a clause in my lease. He was worried about my age, it's a walk-up. So he wrote in, I have a right of first refusal. If an apartment opens up on a lower floor, I could have first refusal. And the landlord is obligated to offer it to me. So from the beginning in this new apartment, which was working very well, except I didn't know that I was going to have a big problem with the upstairs tenants, a noise problem. So long story short, it escalated the problems between us. So I was being harassed and bullied and actually threatened. So at that point, there had been an apartment that had opened up. An elderly tenant had passed away. I had inquired about it, but they never got back to me. So I thought, okay, kept in the family. Sometimes they pass apartments along to relatives. But when things got really bad for me, I said, oh, and then in the meantime, they rented it to someone else. And then I realized it hadn't stayed in the family. They rented it to new people. So when this all happened, though, I decided to pursue it because the landlord was in, what's the word? He was at fault because he had never offered it to me in the first place, and he was supposed to before anything else happened. So I checked with a couple of attorneys, and they wouldn't even take the case. Everybody was like afraid of it. And then a friend had heard of Adam. She had never used him, but she'd heard of him, and how brilliant he is, which he is. So I called him. From the moment I heard his voice, he also happened to know my landlord, and so he was familiar with how he operates. But from the moment I heard his voice, he is like the most confident person I've ever met, but with good reason, And so I felt good. He said, come in. I came in. I showed him the papers. I showed him my lease, and he said he thought we had a good case and it was worth going for. So he really is. And this sounds like a cliche, but it's true. He's like a champion of the people. First of all, I was surprised he would take a case this small because I know he handles like very, very big cases. But that feeling of having somebody jump in and be available and support you when you're really desperate is incredible. So I'm really grateful that I found him. Absolutely. Like they're all amazing people. It's been 2.5 years, so I got to know everybody. Right. And the case took like a few detours, like not very good ones. But from the first meeting, John Desiderio came in to the case, and then Joanna Peck. So the three of them mostly were helping me for the first year and a half, and then Jeffrey Metz toward the end for the appeals. First of all, I think everybody's brilliant. It's really extraordinary to have this many brilliant legal minds all together in one firm. I'm sure everyone else is too that I haven't met, but I can't it sounds like, somebody's going to suspect that you paid me here because I can't say enough good things about everybody, about my whole experience. They're very responsive. They always got right back to me, patiently answered my questions. And most of the time I didn't know what they were saying because I don't understand legal language. But they really, I don't know, there's a lot of humanity there. It's like they really cared about me as a person, not just the case. Obviously, I wanted to win. That was, the goal. But they're just really beautiful people, all of them. Yeah. Well, my goal was to get the apartment. But what happened was the landlord started to fight tooth and nail not to give me my rights. You would think this little tiny apartment wouldn't matter because this is a wealthy landlord. However, his response was to try to have me evicted. So they created a whole case against me based on lies, signed affidavits from the other tenants who I was having the commotion with, to try to prove that I was operating a business illegally in the building, so they could break my lease and get rid of me. So then it took like almost a year to go in that direction to kind of fight this whole new case, you know? So that had to happen. And then that became the goal, to prove that I wasn't operating a business, which I wasn't. And, you know, various other things that went along with that. And then finally it comes to the time when the judge had to say her ruling, like the final ruling for summary judgment, and she ruled against me. I didn't win. So that was like a big setback, and everybody was like pretty shocked at that. So then we went to the appeals process.
And Adam Leitman Bailey PC is helped you along the way the whole entire time.
The whole entire time, with every single thing. I mean, I just was reading over my emails, 2.5 years worth of emails, and it all came back to me. But every time that happened, like, it was very scary to somebody, you know, landlord trying to evict you. You know, it's like, you don't know what to do. And they're my defense. I can't do it by myself, you know, so I really depended on them a lot. They were always reassuring, always confident, always gracious. I mean, just unbelievable group. And by the way, I've already told everybody I know. So
that's great.
All along the way, I kept telling people, oh my gosh, these lawyers, do you need any real estate lawyers? You know, I got the good ones for you. 110%. Yeah, any position. I mean, because he handles all kinds of cases, not just, you know, mine was unique. Anyway, we finally just won the appeals. It came up just maybe 3 days ago that the result came in. So I won it. You know, I won the rights that I should have had in the first place. But now some negotiations have to take place between our side and the landlord.
But overall, you're happy with your team here at Adam Leitman Bailey PC?
Very happy, but beyond happy. It's like, I don't know, it's like a deep experience to go through something like this, you know, to lose your home, to be threatened. I mean, I was being physically threatened, you know, with police involved and everything when this started. So it's been like really intense. And plus we had a good time. We even laughed a lot, you know what I'm saying? Like, they're really special